I took my time with this broadcast this morning because I knew this was going to open the doors, and I knew this was going to start some stuff. And I wanted to start some stuff because I want the people who are engaged in the system of economic oppression, I want them to be aware of how they practice it. They're under pressure from the people above them to make this hiring and to make this work. So they succumb to the pressure. And they practice microaggressions. You know, you can't look at people and tell them, even with young white girls who are pretty, will tell you that they have the same issues when they go into a marketplace, when they go into a work environment. They get treated based on how they look. Other women hate them. That's microaggression as well. I hear that complaint too often. In fact, I've heard it. I can't go into the specifics because they might be listening, right? So these things do happen. So they're not talking about things that haven't happened. I fear for you because you don't live in the real world. You know, the kind of sentiments you're lucky you're hiding behind a hologram thing. You know, so you're not displaying your true name because you don't live in the real world, right? And so you are not aware of how real world activities function. So until you live in the real world, you really are not a part of this conversation. I invite your criticisms and your comments because it exposes what a number of people who look like you think, because you have never experienced it. How can you know what it is like to be a person of color if you've never been a person of color? If you've never associated around people of color who talk about these things, how would you know? You're going to live in your isolated little vanilla colored world where everything is everything. And I don't even know that you guys have it going good. You still have issues of opioid addictions rampant in your community. You have issues of methamphetamine addiction rampant. There's endemic poverty in certain pockets in rural America that cannot be erased, no matter what kind of infrastructure. I just came from Ohio the other day, driving through the cornfields, and my God in heaven, I'm like, is this still America? Some places are forgotten. So where exactly do you get off saying this? It just tells me how much you're really not exposed. I suggest you go and watch more, widen your horizons, and look at the bigger picture. And you'll come out and see one day that there's something to this stuff. Just maybe you can be part of the change, right? I knew this was going to invite all of this because it is a very uncomfortable kind of conversation to have. And it is not, this is not designed, this is not around anyone's discomfort, because the people who are sitting in my space are very uncomfortable because they have done exactly what they were told to do. Go to school, work hard, make sure you get your degrees. And they got their degrees and come out of school thinking the world was now going to be at their feet because of their degrees, and they're not getting it. Right? Maybe you have a job that you would hire people of color. Let me know. Post it on my Twitter and Periscope page. I'd love to see it. Right? Show them that this is not true. And I had to sit down the other day talking to, because even young people who are now in high school and who are about to go to college, they're like, what is going to change? Is it even worth it? I read a report recently that even in Britain, that Generation Z, who are the people graduating in 2020, they're graduating high school in 2020. Generation Z, they're like, why do I need a 4-year degree if I'm going to have to work in the gig economy? Why am I going to take on so much debt? I might as well collaborate. They are delaying getting married. They're delaying having children because they cannot afford to buy a house. They cannot afford to make the payments on a mortgage. So they delay all those things that a generation prior to embraced as a part of life. This is not just happening here. This is a worldwide phenomenon because the same people who control the economy in America are the same people who control the economy in Europe. They all get together. That's why you don't watch the news. You don't listen to the news. When they get together, when the G7 get together, the group of 7 industrialized countries, just so you know, because you live in a pocket where apparently you don't get the news, when they get together, it's not just the leaders of the countries who get together. The leaders of industry also get together. That's where they determine what interest rates are going to be attached to loans that are disseminated to people in those countries. That's what determines the standard of living in those countries. They get together, and all the billionaires, there are only 2,100 billionaires on the planet, just so you know. Recently, I read on CNN that China now has more millionaires than America. I don't believe that because China fuddles the numbers. There are now 100 millionaires living in China and 99 million in America. That doesn't sound right because we know China plays with their numbers. They may have 10 millionaires living in China. You don't know for sure. There's no standard to measure because they're never going to tell the truth. So anything they say, you take it with a grain of salt and keep it moving. That's information that you need to know. Right? So the people who are making the decisions, they get together and they determine what economic policies will benefit them, their industries, and their companies. Then it is a trickle-down effect. That's how the system of money is run. Just so you know, right? Okay. So when that happens, that determines what happens to the rest of us. Who controls that? Who are the architects of that? Who are the people who make that happen? That's where the facts are. And that, my friend, is how the cookie crumbles. That is what we need to know. And when you know that, then you have a pretty good understanding of how the system of money is run. Now, at this level, you're fighting against me because your perception is about color. But at that perception, it's about money. Of the 2,100 billionaires on the planet, 2 of them are African. They're from Nigeria. They own oil and so on. There are a number of them from India, right? There are a number of them from India, and there are some from China. I think there's only one from China, so they might be feeling some issue about that, right? But there are people of color amongst the 2,100 billionaires. At that level, what matters is the color of the money. Is it green? Is it gold? Is it silver? Is it diamonds? Or is it platinum? So you, at this level, to show you how it is, they create a proletariat system where the people fight against each other to achieve supremacy. And they sit back and watch it happen because it's their money. As long as it doesn't affect their money, they're good. So keep fighting against people of color. All you're doing is perpetuating a system that is making more money for others and they're enjoying it. And you're still here fighting about color. I don't have time for you. You need to go get educated. Right? But do you see what I'm saying? And this is how the world is run. So the question I like to ask people is, what role are you going to play? Is it time to cooperate? Maybe. Because the system of money is run by people who have a better understanding of money and the systems that make it. And they take every advantage of it. Doesn't matter what color their skin is. They find tax havens in Delaware. America is the biggest tax haven ever. We have more tax protections for wealthy people than any other country on earth. And America provides for that so that people who are wealthy in America, they can take their money offshore and go invest it somewhere else. Did you also know that? So while you're here telling me that my attitude makes me unemployable, how much money do you have? Because if you really had money, you wouldn't be there. There you go, right? Go think about that. You've got to look at this from the other perspective and go after the money and build something that is going to attract the money into perpetuity. I kid you not. When I look at sports athletes, I have nothing against them. I look at actors and actresses and singers and performers. I have nothing against them. But when I see them living huge, I'm like, are you kidding me? Have you not learned a lesson? Take the money and go invest it in financial instruments so you set up a system of money, making money into perpetuity. You don't sit here and make stupid decisions. Anybody can invest now. Do you have a stash account? Do you have a portfolio? Do you have a portfolio? I do. While you're telling me how unemployed I have a portfolio. Yes, I do. Do you have one? Do you? Anybody can do it now. They're leveling it so that you have access. Go look into it. You have $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 sitting in your savings account. Why? Go take that money and make more money. And put it in financial instruments that exist. This is the biggest tax haven on the planet. We have more freedom, more financial freedom than any other country in the world. You think we have regulations and tax? We don't have nearly as much as anybody else. We don't have those kinds of restrictions. Go make your money, make money. I know because I've been there. Right? Go put your money in financial instruments that make money for you. And then we can sit back down and talk about the true gig economy. So if you find yourself with a little money, go download an app that you can invest your money. When you get that ding that you just made some dividends, there is nothing quite like it. And forget about it. Every month you put some money into it. And you load it and say, go do something with that. You'd be surprised how you're building something, right? It's added savings. The other thing to do, go buy some life insurance. I'm amazed at how many people don't have life insurance. You know, a generation ago, our grandparents used to buy life insurance, and when they die, you get a little bequeath and a little thing for $20,000. Some of us could get that and go start buying a house somewhere, right? And go buy a piece of land somewhere. I kid you not. How many of us have life insurance? Do you have life insurance? And you're like, Harriet, I'm 27, I'm 28. Still buy it. Go buy term life insurance. If anything happens, your descendants, your cousins, your children have something. And it's good for you. It adds to your portfolio. So you are a person of asset. So when they start calculating things like your VSL, your variable statistical life, and they add a value to it, you actually have some value. They might keep you in the next system when they're going to determine who they're going to eliminate. Right? These are some of the things that we need to think about. Ladies and gentlemen, don't just focus on what is in front of you. Make some plans for your future. I know it's tight and it's tough and it's everything. I tell my children, if you graduate college and you have to come back home to start again, that's fine with me. I don't have any problems with that. You see what I'm saying? I don't have any problems with that. Don't go paying rent for $1,100 to impress someone else. Don't go buy a car and spend $550 a month to drive a Mercedes or drive a Beamer to impress anybody. Take your taxes, your tax returns, and go buy a car and call it a day and be still and save the rest of your money. Don't go take out a car note just to pay a note, just to say that I'm driving the newest and the latest. That's foolishness. That's putting money into someone else's pocket. By the way, you know, when we go to school and take out student loans, you do know that the wealthy people of this country are the ones who own those loans. You do know that. So who is making money on the payments that you are making? If you really think about it, you realize the system is just as jacked up if you're white, black, or green. It's just, where do you sit in terms of the system? You're focused on my color. Instead of thinking, I am talking about the people who run the system, the people who own the system. And you're focused on attacking me and my color. And you're not looking at who really runs the system. Who does? They're making money off your credit card interest. And that's okay with you? Is it? So your credit card is just a loan. You just have the plastic representation of it. Your credit card is a loan, right? Think about that. I need you to stop and think about that. So who owns it? If you were to go online, let's say you got a credit card to Citibank, and you go find out who the shareholders of Citibank are, and you find out what they own, you're going to stop using that piece of plastic any day. And when you see their net worth, you're going to say, so the money I'm paying per month, that's what it is. You're going to shut it down. And it is going to give you a revelation. And you're going to see what the rest of us are saying. Do you see now? I know you do. Right? I'm done. That's it for the day. You want more information? You got to come back tomorrow. You want to hear more about this? You can inbox me. Ask me anything. I'm going to answer. And I'm going to tell you from what I know. But I did learn this one thing. Nothing beats an investment portfolio. Get some money. And today they make it so much easier. You don't even have to go into your bank anymore to do it. You can download an app. And in that app, you can figure out what you want to do. Right? Let me see what my girl Raven is saying. You still love me? Okay, I still love you too. Right? Thank you, Raven. Right? That's one of my faithful followers. Right? And guess what? She doesn't even look like me. Right? Somebody asked me if I'm trans. Trans meaning transgender. No, I was born female. I identify as female. No, I'm not gay. I'm not bisexual. I'm not trans. I'm not LGBTQ, questioning, independent, asexual. I'm none of that. I am straight heterosexual female. Are you all going to hate me now? Right? It is what it is. I'm not going to apologize for my gender and for who I am. Okay? But come back. We're going to talk some more about this. I know you are curious. I know you want to know. No, you want to know. Food for thought. When you're sitting down tonight and you pull out your credit card, just do it right now and pull your credit card out. Start right there. Google who owns the credit card, the bank that issues your credit card. You are going to run out of your house. Then you Google who owns the car note that you are driving and who owns the mortgage company for the house you live in. Attacking me? I'm not this. I'm not even the system. The system doesn't even look like me. You're going to have a revelation. Like, what? Because the system is designed for you not to think. Because if you start thinking, you become dangerous. Because then you're going to start making modifications. And the minute you start making modifications, the people who make money off us not thinking, they don't like that. They want us to continue just be autonomous. You just be a robot, so robotized that you think how they want you to think, right? I've said too much. I'm done, right? If this message has been a blessing to you, go to my website, harrietcammock.com, as well as join me again. I love this. I think I'm going to do this for a while. I love this. I love the repartee. I'm going to keep talking about this. This has been so much fun. Thank you so very much for joining me this morning. Be blessed. I hope to hear from you. Boogerhead. Make sure you come back and join me. Don't change your name because I'm going to look for you under Boogerhead, right? Go look up who owns your credit card, your mortgage, and your car note. And then come back and talk to me tomorrow. Come back and tell me about it. Tell me what you found and how does that make you feel, right? Talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Be blessed. I got to go. Raven, how about that? Share this with your friends, right? Talk to you tomorrow. Be blessed. And thank you so much for joining us, whatever podcast that you have listened to. I love you. Thank you so much for your support. Continue to support our broadcast. Make a donation to the ExodusFoundation.com. You can find us on the web and certainly invite me to speak at your next event. Thank you so much, everybody. Be blessed.